Hey, Dad.
Welcome back to Goosebumps Retrospective, the show where we talk about Goosebump episodes and judge them on their merit. Tonight's episode is the finale of Stay Out of the Basement. Let's go over what we missed last time in Stay Out of the Basement.
Mangoes!
So yeah, not much happened. Hopefully for part 2 we actually get to see some shit go down. To be fair, I'm kind of wondering if this could have been one of those 30-minute episodes. This episode probably could have been like more violenced up a bit. Would have been more interesting, but well, let's just see where part 2 takes us.
We last left off our favorite character, Casey, being attacked by a tentacle hentai. Whoops, we last left off our favorite character, Casey, being attacked by a fake-ass looking paper a plant vine. Yeah, a plant vine, sure. Margaret, eventually, rushes to help her brother out with the plant rape, only angering their teleporting father.
Where's Dr. Merrick?
Just left.
I didn't see him leave.
But his car is still here.
Instead of being relieved, their father is incredibly angry that his work was disturbed.
You're not a mad scientist, are you, Dad?
No, I'm an angry scientist.
Ha 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 ha! Good one.
He sends them to their rooms with no dinner. What a bastard. However, Dr. Brewer is getting smarter though, as he finally puts locks on the basement door. I don't know why he didn't do that to begin with. I mean, the guy in the book pretty much figured that one out instantly. But here we are. Now with their dad out of the house, the kids have the perfect opportunity to sneak about the house and do some snooping. Their first idea is to attempt to call their mother and tell her, well, I guess the same thing she'd attempted before. I don't know how that's gonna work, all things considered. Turns out it doesn't matter anyway, as the number to reach their mother is now missing, forcing the kids to go look in their father's room for it.
This is Gloria Merrick, Dr. Merrick's wife. I was wondering if my husband was there. I'm a little worried. He was supposed to be home hours ago.
Just another clue in case you were wondering if Dr. Merrick was okay. Unfortunately, their dad comes home a bit early, leading to an actually well-pulled-off tense scene. Margaret knocks over a bunch of stuff and is forced to hide under the bed to hide from her father. But worms start to fall to the floor around her, and... Okay, I have no idea why he was carrying around Merrick's wallet, but okay. Thankfully, her father leaves, leading them to return to the investigation. For a kid's show, this is a well-pulled-off scene for the most part. I think for kids, it plays into the fear of getting a kid in trouble and all that, which I can understand, but as an adult, I can't help but wonder what exactly is the risk here. Would the dad literally hurt them? Or kill them? Do the kids think that, or do they think they're just gonna get grounded or something? Maybe if there was a scene where Dr. Brewer was a little bit more violent with Margaret, this scene would be even greater, and them trying to contact their mom would make a lot more sense. I guess we could be led to assume that Dr. Brewer killed Dr. Merrick with that whole wallet thing, but little kid me never even had that in my mind, so... I also have to mention the atmosphere is pretty intense, if not a bit cliche with the lightning storm outside, but the dark blue lighting does work in their favor. Anyway, to get back on track here, Margaret gets a little too bit curious about what's under the covers.
That's actually a decent scare, but what I want to know is how long has it been like that?
That's their parents' bed. Their parents' bed. Did the wife not notice this? Anyway, the kids finally decide that it's time to see what's going up on in the basement.
Gross. I have to get to the bottom of this. I have to know the truth. And I have a feeling the truth is in the basement.
Oh, hell yeah. Time to Arnold Schwarzenegger this bitch. We're armed with weed killer and a crowbar. We're about to steal. Although if it was me, I would have used a power drill on this lock. That way, if they were wrong, they could have easily reattached the lock back to the wall, and everything would have been hunky-dory. Now there's no turning back. That's not even how you use a crowbar, guys. Come on. Finally, we get to go into the basement and see what probably most of the budget went towards. We get a spooky hand. Hey, that looks familiar. And we get this. Oh god. I'm getting some Invasion of the Body Snatchers flashbacks here. And by the way, this was the plant that Margaret cut herself on in the part 1. Oh, yeah, they just killed Margaret's clone. That's pretty cool. A little later, they find Dr. Merrick's clothes just lying there. Wait a minute. Why'd he take off his clothes? Moving on. The kids find Dr. Brewer all tied up. Wait a minute. Oh, I know where this is going. So, this dad explains that he is in fact their real dad. And this guy is actually just a plant copy. Fucking body snatchers. So we get one of those finger pointing moments where the kids have to shoot the imposter. Thankfully, the real dad calls Margaret Princess, meaning he's the real father, so they give old Leafy here the old spray down.
Man, he died just like the people from Welcome to Dead House.
There's only one person who calls me princess. My real dad.
He then picks up the crowbar and kills them. No witnesses!
You know, honestly, I don't even see the harm of spraying both of them. I mean, it's not like Weed Killer's gonna do the same to both of them, right? So that's pretty much it for Stay Out of the Basement. You get the good old Disney ending with everything turning back to normal. Dad's okay, the kids are okay, and even Dr. Merrick is okay. Huh. Oh, well, that's kind of a bummer, but...
Margaret. Margaret, help me. Please help me. I'm your father. I'm your real father.
Oh, I'm your father.
No, I'm your father. I'm your father. I'm your father. No, I'm your father. No, he isn't. I'm your father. I'm your father.
Oh, really? That's the twist? Okay, well, I guess it's okay. I mean, somewhat. But I actually thought of a far better twist that I was almost certain would happen, as they kind of built up to it, but alas, they went with the ending from the book. Remember this plant? And this? I swear, I thought this was going to be coming back into the story with a twist. Like, have a clone of Margaret that replaces her and kills the original. Well, okay, maybe not kill, but maybe just at the end reveal another Margaret. That would have been a far better ending instead of the twist which comes out of nowhere. And it's almost a bit funny, but I can see why some people could find this unnerving, but for me, it just doesn't do it. Anyway, that was the episode. It was certainly a thing we just watched together, wasn't it? Okay, let's start with the problems with this episode before we can get into the nitty-gritty goodness this thing offers. Like most Goosebumps episodes, we got the bad acting, bad parents, and stupid character moments. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take all those problems and put them off in a little box somewhere. Because if I had to mention these for every single episode we've done, we'd be here all day. The main issue with the episode is pacing and focus, at least to me. Part 1 moves incredibly slowly and get very little payoff. It adopts a formula of kids go in basement, kids get in trouble, and then they want to go back into the basement. This extends all the way towards the climax. It doesn't help that the episode is stuck in the house the whole time as well, leaving the episode to feel somewhat claustrophobic. I know, budgetary reasons and episode length, but they could have done scenes outside, scenes where Margaret is heading towards the house, establishing some sort of narrative of Margaret perhaps maybe coming home to her creepy father and worrying about it or something like that. Instead, no, we get scenes inside of them playing video games and talking and making breakfast. Simple things. I can argue that's a good thing and I can argue that's a bad thing, but overall, it does leave us to feel claustrophobic as we are just in this house way too long. As for focus, the focus is more on the mystery with the dad rather than the mystery of the basement. I mean, the episode's called Stay Out of the Basement, not Stay Out of the Way of Dad. Frankly, the episode does make the dad seem to be a little bit more interesting than the basement, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I imagine there could have been something more interesting and creative that could have been done with the basement. Although, once again, I suppose the episode's budget is to do that. There's also a load of cheesy scenes in it. But yeah, I said we put a lot of that aside because it's due to the acting. So let's just put some of that aside. And finally, there's the climax. It's just pitiful. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, we get to see some cool monster plants, that's pretty dope, but the reveal solution just comes way too quickly in my book. We've had so much boring build-up for this rushed climax. Not to mention the Disney sitcom-like ending we get. Look, your father just made a plant clone that probably wanted to take over the world. I mean, probably. I think you should be a little bit more shaken up about this. Then there's the mother. She just shrugs it off like it's a joke. Does she not care about her family? I mean, come on. She's completely checked out at this point.
You know, when Aunt Eleanor was getting better, she asked me about you two. I said you were both growing like weeds. I never realized how close to the truth I almost was.
Also, the twist is stupid. Sue me. I think they should have gone with the Margaret clone. That would have been much better, since they had bits in the plots that would have led to that. Instead, those parts just lead to this scene where they spray the pot with weed killer, and it's just a red herring, I guess. So with that in mind, what are the good moments? I think this episode really establishes a good tone with lighting. Okay, in the basement, maybe it's just a tad bit on the nose, maybe even a bit comical with the green, but for scenes like this one in the hallway with the dark blue contrasting with the darks, it just works really nicely. There's also some well-built-up moments in the second part with the dad and the bedroom scene. While the episode has toyed with suspense earlier with some belittled success, it works the greatest here. Even though I could argue the stakes could have been established much better than simply being grounded or something of the sort. I also love the sting when Margaret sees Dr. Merrick's wallet and all the moments of anxiety with the answering machine, or even the reveal of the worms on the bed. It might, however, push its bounds a bit when Margaret seems to freak out over dropping some mail into a fern. I mean, what, are you afraid of ferns, girl? Jeez. For scoring, I'd put Stay Out of the Basement Part 1 at about a 5, as the pacing is just a little too bit slow for me, and I feel that they could have cut out the fat in some parts. As for Part 2, however, I'd give that a solid 7. The scene in the bedroom, it's pretty great. And I make a dirty joke out of that, but this is a kid's show, so... Now we get to my favorite part, the comparisons. What is better, the book or the episode? Well, when it comes to differences, I think the episode is a pretty faithful adaptation. There are some major changes, however, and the main one, I'd have to say, is pacing. The book is a lot more slow than the episodes, The kids go into the basement several times, and sometimes just for pointless reasons, like, oh, let's go get our kites. We also have our first notable instance of a character cut with Casey and Margaret's friend Diane, who's pretty much along for the ride in the book, but in the episode she doesn't even make a mention or appearance. It's understandable why she was cut. She added just about nothing to the story. Also, to top it off, the characters act a lot more stupidly, especially Casey, so I guess that's something the episode got right. Funnily enough, I noticed the book had a lot more references to popular media in the 80s and 90s. We got references to Sassy Magazine, Arnold Schwarzenegger, RoboCop, and even the dad wears a Dodgers cap. Things like this are just removed, of course. I mean, I've noticed even the reprints remove some of these things. I mean, I get it for the episode, but why was that removed from the book? Anyway, there is one change that I thought was decent, and I think it's the book's climax. Now, throughout the book, I've noticed that it's a lot more violent. And now, you know me, I love my violence. The climax is definitely a whole lot better with this. In the book's version, Margaret uses a knife to see what color each dad's blood is. When they find out who the plant dad is, the real dad cuts him up with a fire axe. Damn. Not to mention, with all the slowness this build-up was, it was kind of necessary. The book was kind of getting a bit stale to this point. But I mean, damn. This dad means business. Can't show that to kids, though, So overall, what's better? The book or the episode? Well, despite the better climax, I'm gonna have to say the episode. The book takes too long to get where it needs to go, and the characters are just more annoying. The episode, while still being a bit slow, kinda rectified that. With that in mind, I'd say the episode is a pretty faithful adaptation. Hell, I'd say it's a pretty great adaptation, as it fixes the flaws of the book and gives us an overall better product. I mean, somewhat.
Well, guys, that was Stay Out of the Basement Part 2, and that certainly was a wild ride. Part 2 was definitely a lot better than Part 1, but dear God, it was a bit slow, and there were some pretty cheesy lines in this. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for today's episode. Make sure to stay tuned for next episode when we cover...
It's green.
I wonder why they call this stuff monster blood. I don't know. Maybe to scare people off.
It's growing.
This stuff's getting worse. Tell me about it.
And it's coming for you. From the creative works of R.L. Stein. Monster Blood. Coming soon to a theater near you.
So we'll see you then. But in the meantime, make sure to have a scary day.